Now, Speaker of Parliament Professor Aaron Michael Quay is warning MPs and officials of Parliament who sign attendance registers for absentee MPs to immediately desist or incur his wrath. As the opening of sitting on Thursday, some MPs, including Akimoda MP William Ejapon Kwetu, a new job in South MP Dr. Marcus Ebeyeboa, questioned why the official report on attendance for Wednesday captured 106 members of Parliament when the numbers were less. Following their concerns, the Speaker directed the Clerk Office to immediately facilitate the installation of a clocking machine to check the attendance of MPs to the House business.
An almost empty Parliament on Wednesday, 1st July 2020, but 106 names of MPs were captured as present. Some MPs question why some of their colleagues who were absent were marked present.
Because they are notoriously absent often. But the real issue is who has been marking those absent present? Is it the table office? Because indeed, every member has to sign in to show that he or she is present. It's somebody signing in on their behalf. If that is happening, those persons are the ones we must look out for. Because And the table office often sends people around. Those who don't go in to sign, they bring their register for you to sign. So if indeed those people were not present, who marked them present? I think we must investigate who has been marking those absent present, because that is the bigger issue. I think we should pay attention to that.
Page 3. Name number 98. Bring the figure, George. His match has been present. And I'm saying that to the Speaker for a very long time. You don't see this house. Yes, they are here in this house. You're in the chamber. But his match present. His match not present. Repeat. Figure, George. Was absent. Yes. You have been absent for a very long time. You don't see him in the chamber. Yesterday I didn't see him in the chamber. You are here.
Speaker of Parliament Professor Michael Quay warned MPs and officials of Parliament who signed in attendance registers for absentee MPs to immediately desist or incur his sanctions.
If there are any persons signing in for people who are not present, please, this will be your last warning, because in the near future, you will be subject to very serious disciplinary action.
To stem this development, the Speaker directed the Clerk Office to immediately install clocking-in machine.
We all know that we've had difficulties with this issue of attendance. We all know that we've placed orders for machines for that purpose. Mr. Clerk and the administration, I charge that you must facilitate the arrival of these machines for our purposes.
But until the clocking-in machine is installed, some honorable members of the House will continue to beat the system.
Now let's speak to Dr. Rashid Draman of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs at CEPAP. Doc, I can't help but remember my days in school when your mates would call you and say, write my name in the attendance sheet. Do you think that this is more of an attitudinal challenge than a parliamentary issue? Dr. Draman, if you can unmute yourself at your end. Right, Dr. Rashid Draman
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was just saying that it is both an attitudinal issue, and then it's also, if you like, a challenge that has been confronting our parliament for many, many years now. I think this issue is not new. I don't even know why up to now Mr. Speaker is not sanctioning both members of parliament as well as the staff who are involved in what I would call this unethical behavior. Somebody doesn't show up for work, he's marked as present. I think that is fraud. I mean, if we can put it in very simple terms. And I believe by now, given that this has been a perennial problem, by now Parliament would have installed these biometric machines so that it can read the finger of only a particular person. Then we have a situation where nobody can sign for you. But beyond installing the machines, I think the bigger issue is whether really, if somebody doesn't show up for work in Parliament, the leadership of Parliament is truly going to sanction them. I think that we want to live to see that day.
Now, Dr. Draman, you hit the nail on the head, because I was going to ask next if this is not a fraudulent act, signing in for someone. If it is, should it not be treated as criminal?
Yes, indeed. I think that that is perhaps maybe what the leadership of Parliament would have to carefully look at. Particularly, I mean, people have heard you on your platform right now, Mr. Speaker, saying people have come to sign in, and we see the numbers on the floor of the House. I mean, the numbers don't add up. I mean, what does that mean for the reputation of those individual MPs? And what does that mean if action is not taken? What does that mean for the reputation of Parliament, particularly as a body that is supposed to make laws for us and expect that all of us obey those laws? I think that that's the first group that must be seen to be above board and must be seen to be upright when it comes to respecting the law and when it comes to issues of integrity, because they are supposed to be holding all of us accountable, particularly those who have a mandate and resources from the government. And if we begin to see some of these things coming from the House itself, then many are going to begin to question whether the Parliament has any moral authority or moral right to begin to question other people who do wrong. So I think for me, it's important that we go beyond just simple talk and every day the Speaker is admonishing members of Parliament and so on to some serious punitive actions, sanctions. I think that that's the only way, the only thing that can change the behavior of those who are indulging in this act.
So, Dr. Draman, you mentioned earlier that in Parliament, that's where we make the laws, and so they should be seen as people who uphold the laws. We just saw the resignation of a Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Carlos Ahinkra, and he clearly breached sections of CI, of Executive Instruments 164, 64, and 65, and the Public Order Act 851. As a member of Parliament, to take an action like this, what is the seriousness of that action, and what should be taken against him? What action should be taken against him?
Look, Daniel, currently I am stuck here in Canada. I'm in lockdown here. What the government here has done is, if you are supposed to be in quarantine, even if you don't have COVID, if you come from travel and they say you have to self-isolate for 14 days, you don't do that. They do spot checks. If they find you, you go to jail for 6 months and you pay $750,000. Now, if you are involved in a situation like the honorable member who, first of all, tested positive and then went out in Canada, I don't think that you are going to see the light of day again, even if you are an honorable member of Parliament. Because now, I think he has become a murder weapon. Because I don't know how many people he has infected already with this behavior. It's a situation where it looks like he has put his political ambition ahead of the public health, ahead of the safety of all the people around him, as well as innocent people. Elsewhere, you go to jail and you will lose your seat and you will never perhaps see the light of day again, because, I mean, murder, I think, exacts one of the highest sanctions that you can find in most societies.
Should that happen now, him losing his seat and going to jail?
Well, I mean, if you ask me, I think that perhaps that's what I have just read, I mean, on one of the platforms, that some of the people in his campaign team, one of them has died. I don't know whether that is true or not, and a number of them are infected. I mean, we don't know when this story is going to end. And I believe that if we have laws in our country, the laws should work, irrespective of who is a violator of the law. I mean, the fact that he's MP, I don't think he's above the law. And perhaps if the law says he must go to jail for violating CI, you quoted the number of the CI and so on, I think so must be it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rashid Draman of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs, ASEPA.